Jessie, you said you're from Bowling Green.
Yes, I am.
All right, we're laughing because I'm an idiot and forgot to hit record, so we're starting over now. So you're from Bowling Green, but not from Bowling Green. You said you went to Lakota, which is where I went. And I can't, see, now I'm not surprised. Now I already know. So it's all coming off fake, and I'm sorry about all that. But you were class of 2021, is that what you said?
16.
2016?
Yeah.
And was that like a class of 50 now at Lakota?
75.
Woo!
Yeah.
That's huge. It's huge. Did you merge with like another school like Bettsville or something? I don't know about it.
Actually, yes. We did that quite a few years ago.
Old Fort?
Yes, they brought their students
Old
over.
Old Fort too?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Oh, see, I didn't know. I didn't know that was the thing that was happening.
Yep.
So there's no more Old Fort, no more Bettsville anymore?
I don't believe there's any more Old Fort, and there's definitely no more Bettsville. Nope.
Oh, Bettsville only had like 4 people, so
Yeah.
why were they continuing that anyway? No, for real. You guys are like, no, seriously. It was like, that's all they had.
We'll start talking the big leagues in a minute, Heidi.
Oh, okay. But you're from my hometown, had the cinder track.
Yes.
And all that good jazz. I love that you said you were in the cornfield. I can't believe there's somebody else in this world who is in the theater world that also went to my high school.
100%.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense. Did you have theater growing up in high school?
Oh, absolutely.
See,
we
we didn't have any of that. When I was going to school, they didn't have anything. No.
Really?
No, we had Miss Adams. Miss Adams was the only.
I had Mrs. Adams.
Get out of here.
I'm serious. My parents had Mrs. Adams. I'm not even kidding. Oh, heck yeah.
Your parents are probably my age. That's the real truth, actually.
My parents are in their 60s.
Oh, no, not quite. Whew, I win. I win a little bit.
I lose again.
All right. So, Miss Adams was the only thing, the only program. She was teaching high school, junior high, and all of the elementary schools. So, and she was having babies. She was young, having her own family. She didn't have time to make any shows. So, I'm glad that changed. Okay, I'm glad there was some exposure.
Now that we're done talking about the Lakota musical theater. Let's explain why we are here.
We are here with the American Theater Guild of Northwest Ohio, right? That's what you said?
No.
No.
No?
Well, kind of, but no.
Yeah, I like the Northwest Ohio appendage, addendum, but not quite. So yeah, we are the presenters of the Broadway and Toledo series at the Stranahan.
Okay.
And here to talk about the 25-26.
So you're not from the area, though. You're from Missouri, you said.
Kansas. So yeah, Kansas City, but the Kansas side. Originally from
Kansas City's not in Missouri.
It is, but there's also a Kansas City, Kansas. But most of the time when you refer to Kansas City.
Don't do that, Tim. You hurt my head. So I thought I was wrong. I've been living on this earth the whole time, and I thought Kansas City was in Missouri.
It is. So the Chiefs and the Royals are in Missouri, but Sporting is in Kansas City, Kansas. But yeah, when you think of the sports teams and like our bigger arenas and,
So you're in Kansas City, Kansas, not Kansas City, Missouri.
No, she's in Missouri.
I don't know
I'm in
what's going on.
Kansas.
Oh, you are in Kansas.
Who's on first? What's on second?
Confused. I don't know.
I'm in
Third base. I know that one.
So I live south of the city. I live in a place called Overland Park, Kansas.
Okay.
In the suburbs.
And you came all the way up here just to talk to Stage Door about the season.
That's right, I did. I love talking about theater. It doesn't, it doesn't take much for me to go.
Good.
I'll come up. Talk
Us
about
either. That's what we do.
Yeah.
Every week, all the time, put out episodes about theater and everything.
Oh.
So the big deal, obviously, is that you're here to announce the season for the 2025-2026 year.
That's right.
And we are crazy nutballs here in Northwest Ohio, and we support theater like nobody's business.
Heck yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah, so much so there's a theater podcast.
No kidding.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for the crazy amount of people in this area that do this would not exist.
No, why would they listen?
Yeah.
It would be me and you talking, obviously. But we have enough support in the area to do all this.
That's kind of how it started anyway.
It is how it started. Don't go back and listen to the first episode. They're atrocious. And
That's
they
not
had 4
true.
listeners probably. But I was told you're a mad lady and love to talk, so I'm doing all the talking here.
I do love to talk, but I like to share the love too.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I've been doing this for 10 years and I grew up loving theater and I went to school for marketing in the Midwest, went to Kansas State, and I wanted to do something with theater. And
That's so cool. You found a career to be able to be in theater and
yes,
work with your marketing.
I realize how lucky I am to be able to talk about and sell the product that I love. I think about people who sell very, commodity products, and I'm just like, I don't know how you get excited about that. But that's them.
Everybody,
this is me.
you find a way, right?
That's right.
You find a way because it pays the bills, but you don't have to worry about that because it's just something you love anyway.
Yeah, and it's so exciting to see Toledo welcome with open arms the shows that we bring, because some of these shows, like I said, the American Theater Guild, we present shows all across the country, and shows that do really well in Toledo do not always do well in other cities.
Yeah.
And it's just kind of the flavor that people are looking for. But Toledo seems to just, like I said, have just a very open arm, like welcoming mentality. We're like, okay, well, whatever this is, we're here for it.
See it. Yeah. What is this show?
Well, there's nothing else to do here. I'm just kidding. I don't want to get.
But I've heard
everybody
you guys
upset.
got a lot of good theater really close by. I mean,
We do.
ton.
We do.
Yeah.
We have like 14 community theaters right here in town. But also that is nothing more than fuel for the national shows that come in. We have an art school, a performing arts school in town. We have a couple universities right in town that we have like 3 universities or 4 universities all have theater programs. You know, so there's just so much love for the theater in this area that I'm not shocked that when the national tours come in, then not only are all these and the schools, high schools are crazy too. There's just like this breeding farm of love for it from a young age. So
And we're finding out from this podcast of how many people actually come from here, go out and do this. It's actually becoming pretty impressive.
And we've also been told by lots of people who come to town that do community theaters in other cities and come here and are like, wow, you guys, this is not normal, the amount of theater love you guys have here. So we are very fortunate.
Yeah, and I mean, the fact that you all are such great patrons of the shows that we bring. We have Beetlejuice starting tomorrow, and it is on pace to be one of the best-selling shows of tours that we've brought to Stranahan. And New York really sits and looks at that and says, oh, okay, Toledo will fill an 8-week performance series. Like, hey, what other shows can we bring? And I think the 25-26 season is a true testament to that. I mean, you guys are getting shows that are on Broadway right now.
Yeah.
And that is
And they're
wild.
here for a week,
Yes.
too. A lot of these shows don't come for a day and leave.
Yes.
Which is very common in the areas.
Yes. So, yeah, starting this next year in 25-26, we're having 8 performance series. So
8?
8, which is normal. So
That's normal for us?
No, that's normal for a Broadway tour for a week. They do
Oh.
8 performances.
Oh.
So they don't perform on Mondays, but then, Tuesday through Friday, they perform once a day, and then 2 on Saturday, 2 on Sunday. And shows really like to be able to do that because it makes scheduling and routing throughout the whole country easy, because then they know we're wrapping up on Sunday, we're traveling on Monday. Whereas in the past, Toledo, we just had our shows start on Thursday. So they want to fill that Tuesday, Wednesday spot with business. They want to be able to put those shows on the stage. But now Toledo's like, hey, we'll do it for 8. We'll do it for 8 performances, and we'll bring the people to see it.
And the actors, the performers, they also get to unpack their luggage.
Yeah, they get it.
That's always nice.
We always like to hear about, from what little we unfortunately do get to interact with the actors. They tell us like, I got to sit down and I got to go to the city museum, or I got to spend some time with family who's here, or, I got to rent an Airbnb and just hang out for a week and actually buy groceries and feel a little settled, as opposed to just being confined to a hotel for 3 or 4 nights.
The amount of thrifting that I hear them loving.
Thrifting?
Yeah, they love to go thrifting.
Really?
Yes,
That's
yes.
an odd
They'll go
request
downtown. There's
for me.
like apparently like a fantastic
There
little
is.
quirky store that they love to go thrifting at that I will tell people about. There's also like the cheapest one, the Fringe in Bowling Green, where they sell clothes for $1. That's my favorite. But yeah, I just hear a lot of people just talking about like they ask for thrifting recommendations because you have a lot of younger actors and actresses.
Good point.
Yeah, and they just love doing that, and I'm here for it.
Listen, I have an entire list. I think I've given it to Kathy. Kathy Long, who hooked us up. I gave her an entire list of all the best restaurants in town too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you need it, if anybody needs it, I'm always like give them to the performers because I want them when they come here to really enjoy the town and enjoy their time when they're here. And I don't want them to go to McDonald's. I don't want them to do this.
Not that there's anything wrong with McDonald's. I don't want to be sued here.
I hear the McDonald's in Toledo is quite great.
I want them to. We have a lot of really great, only Toledo restaurants that I think they should attend and go to and savor the flavor of the town and not just think we're McDonald's and Wendy's and stuff
How
like
would
that.
have I ever seen this list?
You want that list, Tom?
I want the list.
You live here. You don't
I
know.
know.
The list?
I may not.
I didn't know I had to give it to you. Sorry.
Can you text me that list
Yes,
too?
yes.
Being from out of
It's
town?
a big actual Word document with
Okay.
I broke it down by like Chinese and bars and all kinds of stuff that you
it's
can go
categorized?
to. Yeah,
So helpful.
So if you want Italian, I can tell you right where to go, and if you want Chinese, I can tell you right where to go. Yeah, I try to be helpful, but that's our that's what we do in Toledo. Hopefully we try and make it as comfortable as possible for these performers when they come in, and hopefully when they go on the stage, they feel the energy of our entire town.
Yeah, and from a patron side, the fact that we're able to bring 8 performances as a season member, so that's what we're here to promote is the season membership. And season members usually pick a night to go. So you're like a Friday night member, a Saturday matinee. But if you're unable to go to that performance, you have exchange opportunities. So you're
nice.
like, oh no, I'm going out of town for a wedding, but that's the night of our show, honey. What do we do? Well, you can go and see the show on Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday.
Oh, okay. So if they purchase the season pass, they're not locked in on that day.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay.
Exactly.
Sweet. I didn't know anything about this stuff, so
Yeah.
I'm just a rookie in life sometimes.
Yeah, I'm going Tuesday this round.
To go see Beetlejuice.
Yep.
Exactly.
Looking big time forward to it.
Oh, you're one of the people that are setting the records across the.
I actually made my wife watch both the movies, and she loved them.
So she wouldn't be.
Okay.
She thought they
prepared.
were
You'll love
great.
it. Then you'll love the show.
Oh,
Yeah.
the show's so good.
Yeah, we went to the
So
new
Did
one
Did
at
you get to
the
go
theater.
see it?
I saw it in New York,
Did you
yes.
see it with Alex Brightman?
I did.
Oh,
Yes.
that's a true treat.
It was the first musical I'd ever seen on Broadway.
Oh, that's
was
a great
that
one.
And
yeah.
and I knew it was going to be leaving. It had come back to the Majestic or whatever that theater is, and it had come
the Winter
back.
Garden?
No.
It was originally at the Winter
Nope,
Garden.
not at the Winter Garden. It left and it came back and was at the next one. So I was like,
Okay.
let's go see that. Anyway, so we saw it there because I knew like it's going to be limited. It's gonna end up leaving. So let's go see it while we still have the original cast in the show. And it's just so great. Anyways, this is not a Beetlejuice podcast. If you want to hear that
Sorry.
one, go
But
ahead and
tickets are still
listen.
available. Go get
Listen
your
to Matt a
tickets.
couple
There,
weeks ago.
it's in there. 2 weeks ago, go listen to the episode that we dropped about Beetlejuice if you want to hear my passion and love for that show in particular. So you're here, Jessie, and what do you do? So you're here both pitching the same thing. Do you both pretty much do the same job, only you're local?
Yeah, kind of. I'm basically Heidi's like right-hand man on all the things, and I am local here for Toledo, so we're trying to really step up the game in Toledo, and we are making this package the whole week, so we're really just trying to invite people to come and participate in Broadway in Toledo. Like we love Toledo. We love being able to bring Broadway here. We've been doing it for over 20 years, so we are just really trying to show and spread the love like you guys do here at Stage Door.
What is the push? You said you're here for days and days pushing this. What is it you guys do to push? I should say.
So, yeah, Jessie and I specifically oversee season membership.
Okay.
So, trying to push for people to join as season members, and then as well as for season members to renew their season membership. Much
You
like
go
you
knock
would.
on the renewers' doors and say, hey, you coming
Not
back?
quite.
We're here.
But we really try to. Jessie does a great job of being the face of Broadway in Toledo at the show. We have the presence of a physical table, so where patrons can come up and ask questions about the shows, about how their membership works. What does it cost? Where's seat availability? All that fun stuff.
So now I know your face. So
Yes,
when we
come
go,
say hi.
we can come see you. I'll
Yeah.
recognize you from a
I
distance.
think the last show, I actually
Yep.
saw you there.
I was there, Chicago.
Okay.
Yep.
Oh, okay, all right. I don't look around. I'm
Straight to
He's
the
too
I
busy
do.
taking pictures of
I-
himself. Look where I'm at. Look where I'm at.
I'm taking pictures of the sign, all the people in the show. I'm doing all those kinds of things. I don't pay attention to life when I'm at the show. I'm at the show.
Yeah. Yeah. So like I mentioned, we're bringing 5 tours, and 2 of them are currently on Broadway right now.
Really?
So yeah, and Juliet and The Great Gatsby are the ones that are on Broadway.
The Great Gatsby?
I know.
Yeah.
It's the book everyone read in high school and
correct.
is now on the stage.
But I knew that was on Broadway still. I didn't know that was coming through town though. So
Yes.
I didn't even know it was available. I didn't know it. Since I love not knowing stuff.
Just think we're saving people a lot of money from having to go to New York to see it.
That's
Right.
Well,
that's
Stay here.
exactly.
Watch
It
it
is
now.
true, and it's not actually feasible all the time to just go to New York to see stuff, which
No.
is why it's so great that they'll come to your town.
Exactly.
So if you can go, then do it, because there's nothing like going to see a live show.
Oh no.
No.
And I love watching the shows because sometimes you can see that. So like you kind of alluded to, being in theater, people kind of think the main goal is New York, but being in this industry, it's wild to see how many people find their niche, whether it's community theater or it's being in a tour or it's, in fact, the guy who was one of the Beetlejuices in the show right now, he was the original Beetlejuice on the Norwegian cruise line of Beetlejuice.
Yes, again, 2 weeks ago, if you listen to the podcast, I'm just saying we had him on. His name is Matt.
Oh, yeah, Matt. Yeah, Matt's he's a great guy, and he's he is
a great guy. Western Michigan grad.
That's right. And so you get to see these people like really cutting their teeth, or they were previously on Broadway in that role that they were, or they're taking their next step. There's one time I saw Wicked, and the guy who played Fiyero is now the Fiyero on Broadway, and it's just like, whoa! Like,
that's what happened when we went to see Aladdin in South Bend.
Yeah,
the Aladdin over there and the Genie both play Aladdin and Genie on Broadway. It was the coolest thing.
Well, no, these are the top of the top of the top performers in the world. Okay,
Yes.
This isn't like you're getting some schlub who came in off the street. These are This is insane amount of talent and work that these people. I don't think again, you were talking about Toledo people here. We all know this. We all know what it takes to get into something like that is insane in skill. So.
Yeah, and talking to these people and the amount of like rejection that they'll go through with auditioning, and just the auditioning process just sounds like a whole world of self-confidence that I do not have to be able to. It's a different kind
of person, isn't it?
Yes. They might even just get like 30 seconds in front of a lineup of people and hope that that's going to send them on
that's
to
all you
their
get.
way.
Yeah, you get 30 seconds to sing something and hope that you somehow got a personality enough out there that they saw it.
Yeah, right. And just to be away from your family for 9 months, but some of these people are like, this is what you got to do, and they love it, and they bring their best every single time, and yeah, Toledo's getting the best of the best.
All right, let's talk about these shows again. So there's 5 shows. We only name 2. We'll come back and start rattling off what these shows are a little bit.
Yeah, so I listed Anne Juliet and The Great Gatsby, and then the other 3 is Shucked.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Heck yeah.
So if you love puns.
Listen to the music. Yeah, I just listened to music of that recently.
All of those cornfield kids come out.
Right. Yeah, and The Wiz, which is a take on The Wizard of Oz, and then A Beautiful Noise, the Neil Diamond musical.
All right. So let's talk about Shucked, okay? Because I don't know anything about Shucked. I somehow, surprise, surprise, in all of my social media scrollings, saw about 4,000 ads for Shucked. Mm-hmm. And I kept scrolling past quickly because I'm the guy who doesn't want to know anything before I see it, that kind of stuff. I don't really want to see every single detail, but then I also listen to the music. So, but other than the music is all I do. What is Shucked? It's such a weird name, first of all.
It's a little bit corny.
Oh, geez.
Oh, it's super corny.
Are you giving us an earful?
Yeah. Okay, that's all he needs to know.
Is that what it is? It's a comedy?
Yeah, it is. It's a complete comedy musical, and it's super, super fun. It's very punny. Like, it is incredibly punny with all the cornfield jokes that you can possibly imagine. And I feel like as cornfield kids, we kind of heard it all until we hear this musical, and you're like, okay, can they come up with another one? It is just a true fun musical. It's about love. It's about hope. Just all the feel good things that you can feel about a musical, really.
Why is it called Shucked?
It's about corn.
But you said it was about love and about other stuff. Now it's about corn?
You have to come and watch it to figure it out.
No. That's not how we work on this podcast. We don't do the come watch it BS. We need to know a little bit more about it. What is it? So what is the show? Like, what's the story behind it?
Basically, I don't want to give too much of it away.
When you give a little bit away, I don't think that ruins anything at all when it comes to the show, because the show is a spectacle, I imagine, right? You're going to go there, you're going to see singing and dance. Like, I get the big feeling this is a massive dance show.
Yes.
Yeah. I also saw it I think they were on the parade for the holidays.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Yeah. Yes, they were. It's also a Tony winner, so they've won a few Tonys and been nominated for lots of Tonys as well. But the musical itself is, this couple wants to get married, and then all of a sudden, like, the corn that they're in has stopped growing and producing. So they have to go and find a way to produce this corn. Yeah. And so the part of the musical is it's just one big pun.
So their life is beautiful, and then the corn stops growing.
Yes.
And so that causes the drama in the relationship and in the whole storyline at all. So then they have to go back and figure out why the corn's not growing. Yep. And I assume it all ends well, and everything's happy and everybody's great.
Mm-hmm. And it's set in...
That's the part you'll have to go and find out.
And it's set in Cobb County, of all places.
Cobb County.
Now, I heard the one song on Sirius XM, the Broadway channel there, and it was just the one song I heard, which made me go, oh, I got to check this out. I got to listen to the rest of the song.
Remember?
Independently owned.
I don't know.
Is that it?
Is that it, Tom?
No, I don't think it was.
No.
You do the knee high by the 4th of July thing in the show? Did they say any of that?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I really hope so.
Is that just
I
an
mean, that would be
Ohio
a
thing?
missed opportunity.
It would
it's
be.
knee high by the 4th of July. You know you're gonna have good corn. That's what they say.
Right.
Yeah, and where we grew up in Lakotasville, that was a joke. Okay, because we had 6 foot tall corn.
Yes,
by the 4th
we
of
did.
July. If you didn't have 6 foot tall corn, then what? You're a terrible farmer where we're from. Because it's just given. It's easy growing corn where we're from.
See, odds are you'll understand the show more than most.
Dude,
then.
we are such a corn-fed community down in Lakotasville, Kansas, Ohio.
Kansas,
okay?
Ohio.
Yeah, Kansas, Ohio. Kansas City, talking to you, Heidi. That's right.
We're
we're-
the weed state.
So you're from Kansas. We're from Kansas. And Tom, where are you from?
Cleveland.
Loser. See, we got 3 Kansas here and then you.
I feel like all of this Kansas talk really leads us into the whiz, though.
Wow.
Good
Yeah.
transition.
Nice.
I am
Smooth.
so impressed.
Officially, you need to be a regular. Officially. Couldn't have done
got
that
me
better
on all the
myself.
transitions down.
All right, so the Wiz obviously is a take on the Wizard of Oz.
Yes.
Okay.
It's starting its tour after having not been running for 40 years.
Okay.
So I think the fun of, Wicked and just maybe Shucked has brought people back to wanting to see the Wiz. But it features, it has soul, gospel, and rock.
Okay.
So you were just going to be rocking to the show and just wanting to stand up in the aisles and just have a blast.
Just easing on down the
Ease
road.
on down the road.
Yeah.
In high
Huge
school, I
hit.
did a dance to Ease on Down the Road, and it's just because that's how Michael Jackson kind of got his start a little
Well, he
bit.
was-
He was a little bit maybe
no,
a good
no,
start.
no, no, no,
He
no,
was
no, no,
he was
no.
the Jackson 5, but then he had this,
Yeah.
he made the Wiz famous for being in it.
Yes, there we go. Several famous people in the
Diana
Wiz.
Ross.
Yeah,
was in it.
Diana
Yes.
Ross. Yeah.
That's all I
Why
got.
is there a reason why they decided? Do you have any history on why they decided to go that route and just remake The Wizard of Oz? Was there any reasoning, or they just said, "Screw it, we just want to do it. It's classic. Let's just do it."
Probably just screw it. Let's do it.
Yeah, let's just do it.
I don't know.
Okay, I was just curious. I mean, obviously the music's not the same.
Yes.
None of the music's the same. It's all different.
And I think it's traditionally played by African American actors, so
Right.
that's where the soul and gospel, it's not kind of your stereotypical.
Is there somewhere over the
Yeah.
rainbow in this show at all, or is that just not a thing?
You'll have to go.
Yeah, we'll have to go.
That's my only. I could just sit here and say that every night.
Yeah.
You just have to go. You just have to go.
Okay,
Won't
so
be
the
disappointed,
The
yeah.
point is they'll know the characters at least. Anybody who
Yes.
anybody who goes to the show, they
Yes.
won't have to sit there and struggle to know what the plot line is. They can just sit back and enjoy the dancing and the music as is.
Yeah.
And know that there's going to be a scarecrow, and know that there's so that part is already out of the way. You don't have to figure anything out. It's there, so then you can just enjoy the rest of what the Wiz has to offer. Cool. What's next?
Speaking of other stories, the one that I'm really excited for is The Great Gatsby. So that was one of my favorite books growing up. I have loved both movie adaptations. I think the Roaring '20s are a fascinating time with conspicuous consumption and
Conspicuous consumption.
that's
I
a
like
thing.
that.
Have
I
you never
like
heard of
that word.
conspicuous?
I love that term.
People
No.
were just gaudy
They're like,
in the
why not,
20s,
right?
and they
Yeah.
just spent. They just up until 29 was the big.
Yeah, right
Yeah.
before the
Right before the Great Depression, people were
Yeah.
just spending, gratuitously.
Everything's great.
Yeah. And the character of, I'm just thinking back to the Leonardo DiCaprio movie. The character
Yeah.
of Daisy Buchanan is just so at war with herself. With she loves Gatsby. Sorry, spoiler alert. If you haven't read the book, go get it from your library.
He's pretty great. so.
Yeah, he is pretty great. But then, she's kind of wrapped up in this kind of expectation of her being married to Tom Buchanan, and Tom Buchanan's not a very good guy. And then you've got Nick Carraway, who is Daisy's cousin, who's kind of the narrator, who's kind of the voice of, who's kind of the conscious of the show, because he's just kind of an observer that's going on because he lives, if you know the story, he lives next to Gatsby in this little cottage, and Gatsby is this kind of phantom figure that he's just very
Alluring.
yeah, that's
Yeah.
a good word.
Yeah.
He's very impressed with who this Gatsby is, but doesn't know. So what comes
This
with the
is
Roaring...
not at all like The Wiz.
No.
It sounds totally different. It sounds like it's
way
based
out
on
of
a story
Kansas.
that everyone knows. Yeah. So, you've got the jazz era and, met with the Roaring '20s. So you're going to have probably like the Charleston. You've got the flapper dresses.
flapper dresses, yeah.
And you've just... yeah, so it's just
So big band music and
yes,
Okay.
and beautiful costumes and just glitz and glamour and
Well,
poshness.
this wasn't this up for best musical this year?
Yes, it
The Great
was.
Gatsby.
this year?
I thought it was. I thought it was. So again, no joke show.
No
coming,
joke show.
Coming to town, you're going to get to see a musical that was up for the.
Well, I mean, you had Jeremy Jordan.
He was in it?
Yeah, he was playing Gatsby.
He's okay.
Oh,
He's
he's,
okay
he's
performer.
just
All
fine.
right. And Eva Noblezada,
Yes,
that's how you say it. She
yes.
was in Hadestown and
Oh,
has also been
wow.
in Miss Saigon. She was Daisy.
Wow.
They they're not
Not
coming
in
to
the national
Toledo.
level.
Yes,
Don't set your
But
sights on
people
that. But
are way up there just as good almost as those two.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Yes.
they're
yes. Would not be surprised if the people that are in the show that you see in Toledo are making their way to Broadway too.
Oh, yes.
If the show is still playing on Broadway.
Yeah, we're talking about a show like you said that's on Broadway playing right
Yeah,
now.
yeah.
So anybody who's auditioning for this show in the New York
Mm-hmm.
City area wants to be on Broadway, obviously. So
Yeah.
they're talking about the people on Broadway doing the show, and then the very next person who would have been on Broadway if that other person had been hit by a bus or something, right? And then they would be the person.
Well, no, I wouldn't be surprised
wish
if
that had
they,
anyone.
people who are in the show now, if they say, "Hey, would you like to play the main role on tour?" and they go, "Sure,"
Yeah.
that'd
I
be
would
great.
do that. I would totally do
Oh
that.
yeah, and another thing that I don't think a lot of people realize, and I didn't realize until I went to New York for the first time, the theaters that these people are coming to, so like the Stranahan, are huge theaters compared to the
Yes.
theaters in New York.
That's true.
Huge. I mean, you've got 2,000 plus people in these theaters, whereas in New York, you're maybe only a 700, 800 show. So the capacity of the audience is a huge player in how these shows play out. I mean, they say that no two shows are the same from the standpoint of the audience is never the same.
Yeah.
Which I think is really cool because sometimes you have an audience that thinks like with Shucked, they're going to think everything is funny in Toledo, especially because you're like, I know that joke.
Why?
I grew
Because
up with
we're
that
corn,
joke.
we're corn
Yes.
fed. Is that what you're saying? Yeah.
Yeah.
We might.
You said it, not
we
me.
might appreciate it a little bit more here.
Yeah, so you guys are going to cackle and rip roar,
Yeah.
whereas maybe somebody like on the West Coast are going
Concord.
to be like, oh, I don't get that.
And in Connecticut,
No-
folks
no
are
offense
like,
to the West
I don't
Coast.
get it.
They're wonderful
What are we
people.
talking about? But no, we
Yeah.
Is there more? Is there more?
about the Great Gatsby,
No.
or about in life.
Past the whiz.
Oh yeah.
So
well, the
yeah.
Great Gatsby is
And-
that one. So we all
I
need
want
to
to know
go
how
and
we
see
can
that. show.
Yes.
transition into the next one.
So another show that's on Broadway right now is called And Juliet.
Aha! There's your transition on Broadway.
On Broadway,
Still.
yes. And it's funny when I type that because, do you need a word before?
Every
And
single
Juliet?
time
It's
it
like,
tries
no,
to correct you.
it's just And Juliet.
Remove the Romeo.
yeah,
It is
remove the
and
Romeo.
Juliet.
Yes, the little ampersand Juliet, not A-N-D, which I love that.
Okay.
So yeah, it posits the question of what would happen if Juliet did not kill herself due to the loss of her beloved Romeo at the end of Romeo and Juliet. What would she do? So I think there's a little bit of love, and there's kind of a little bit of just like self, finding oneself and what the purpose of oneself is. But the coolest part about it is that it has 90s and 2000s pop music in it.
Yeah, you
So
might
you've got-
recognize the songs, but if you go to this one.
Yes. If you're a millennial, this was probably the songs that you grew up to.
Okay.
not that it's just for millennials, but as a millennial, I'm super excited because it's got Britney Spears, Backstreet Boys,
Yes,
NSYNC, Katy Perry.
Oh,
And
so
it-
these songs come on, you're like, oh, that's my girl.
Yeah,
That's
I love this song. I'm
you all
sure it's
rush
gonna
out
be
onto the dance floor
Yes.
during the weddings, and me and my wife sitting back like, oh my gosh,
Single ladies.
I can't believe
Yes.
how old we are. They are rushing out to see Miley Cyrus songs. Uh-oh.
You don't rush out for party in the USA?
That is an exact example of what happened at a wedding we were at. So, Party in USA came on, and the bridesmaids were like, oh, and my wife and I were like, oh boy, we're old.
Time for another drink.
Can't believe Hannah Montana song came on. Oh no.
Hannah Montana song. Yeah. So, but those songs interweave into the story.
Yeah, that's good.
So,
They're rocking. That's the whole thing.
yes,
Right?
Right, yeah.
yes.
So
Sung
it's
by,
just like a big. It kind of reminds me of Six, and the fact that is it more like a concert like feel to it than a story, or is it more like Mamma Mia with the story?
I'd say it's more like Mamma Mia.
Gotcha.
It's called in the vocabulary of Broadway. It's called a jukebox musical. But it's not, songs that played on a jukebox. So
It's like a Moulin Rouge.
Moulin Rouge.
Yes.
Moulin
Yes.
Rouge.
Perfect
There's
example.
a good
Yes.
example.
Yes.
Okay, more like a Moulin Rouge. Okay, gotcha. And this takes place after Romeo. That's why there's no. It's not Juliet and Romeo. It's
It
get rid
is
of Romeo.
Juliet's story.
So Romeo's not even in the picture anymore.
I think he is because he wakes up at the end of Shakespeare. And I think Romeo, has a little bit of his own venture.
Okay. So we don't get completely gone. It's
Yes.
He's around a little bit.
He's around a little bit.
I mean, they were going to kill each other, for goodness sakes, because they loved each other so
Like,
much. Now has she
hey,
already moved on?
He's going to make
go
me
an
say it
alternative
again,
route.
isn't he?
Has she seriously
Go
moved on?
see the show.
Well, I'm just saying. The joke that Ron always says is what if Romeo had bent down and tied his shoe while Juliet walked by? Then they wouldn't have all died. It's like, it seems like such a dumb premise. Like, just because they saw each other, then they went off on a tangent about what they were doing and ended up killing himself. And they're like, or he could have been tying his shoe.
Hating on Shakespeare.
And avoided
and
the whole
Shakespeare had written a totally different story.
No, so I'm just saying, is
Romeo
that what
and his
happens?
shoe.
Does she figure out, like, oh, I actually am just 14 and there are other fish in the sea?
I think so.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah, I think she has some maturing
This
that
is
she
a
needs
good
to
message for young people to go
That's
see.
right.
That, believe it or not, you're not going to probably meet your soulmate in high school.
do. Did you meet your soulmate in high school, Jessie?
My parents did.
Yeah, because that was olden days.
Yeah.
As did mine.
Mine came
Olden
from North
days.
Carolina.
Yeah.
That's because
so
they only knew the
sweet.
people in their little town of Bascom. They didn't know anybody else. Okay.
You know, it was Bradner and
You went to
Anston.
Bradner?
No,
Get
my
out of- in
my
Anston?
dad.
All right, we're going to go off on a tangent again. I'll talk to you a whole bunch after this. I can't believe this. That's so crazy, Bradner. All right, so Anne Juliet was that one, and we got one more, right? What's the last one?
It's A Beautiful Noise.
Oh, that's the one
Neil
Tom's been
Diamond.
waiting
That's
for.
what I'm looking for. That. Well, I'm looking for the shuck too, really big. but,
yeah.
yeah.
All these are
Watch
great.
your mouth
yeah.
over
Yeah.
there, Tom. Jeez.
I don't know the story of Neil Diamond.
Watch your
so
shuck
But that's a song. That's one I'll know everything. It'll be another version of what's the Carole King one?
Beautiful.
Oh,
Beautiful.
yeah.
It'll be similar.
Oh, this
to
is
it.
called a beautiful what?
It's called A Beautiful
Neil,
Noise.
Oh.
Beautiful.
but it's Neil Diamond.
Yes.
All right. Okay. Neil Diamond.
I loved Beautiful, and I did not know
Yes.
anything
I
much
love
about Carole King.
Beautiful, too.
So,
By
yeah,
the way,
so-
the national tour of that person was Sarah Shepard from Toledo.
no
Played Carole King.
way.
Yes, way. Totally way.
I know that University of Michigan has a really strong
Oh, yeah.
theater program. So being from where I'm originally from Wichita, Kansas, and we had a musical theater program, and you would always see University of Michigan, and is Carnegie Mellon in Michigan too?
That's in Pennsylvania.
Oh, Pennsylvania. Okay, well, right around this
Pittsburgh.
area.
Well,
people
Cincinnati,
are just
Cincinnati's a huge one. Baldwin Wallace is a big one. We have lots
Okay.
of really good programs in the area.
I'm
too.
just gonna throw out
Otterbein.
BGSU, Bowling Green State
There you
University.
go. Yeah, Otterbine's a
They have
big
great
one.
I throw it out
You
all the
know,
time, being a
there's a
Toledo
ton.
Rocket fan. It's a rough weekend.
There's just a ton. There's a ton of really top theater schools in the area as well.
Yeah,
So-
and one thing that we have as part of the American Theater Guild, not just for Broadway and Toledo, but for all the shows, for all the cities that we bring shows to, is we have something called Staging the Future. So a portion, so it's our nonprofit arm, that a portion of our donations and revenue that we get go towards bringing students to shows to see these national Broadway tours when they maybe wouldn't otherwise get to, if they're not in the, a school district the school district that has reached out to us saying, hey, this is something that I think our students would like to see.
In the Toledo area?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
You've
cool.
done that for I didn't know
Yes.
about this.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay.
Do it quite
What a
so we'll do
great
master
thing.
classes where sometimes members of the cast will do a little bit of a master class where they'll give tips as to how to audition, or they'll do a dance class, so they'll teach the students who come to in the specific group like a number from the show, or they'll just do a talk back, and students will ask, well, how did you get to where you're at, and how does someone like me get to where you're at? And
That would be me at
kids just love it.
52. I'd ask that same question. Oh, how do you get to be on Broadway? I want to be on Broadway. That'd be me. And do you organize this, Jessie?
No, that is actually one of our coworkers, Elaine.
But
who-
it's a theater guild. It does
Yes,
this. So
yes,
someone who
yes.
knows you does this at the Stranahan.
Yes.
I need to know about this when this happens. We need to
no
know
kidding.
about this. We want to help promote like this kind of event so we can get people to go and do it. So like schools reach out to you guys. That's what.
Oh yeah.
And how do they know about it?
so a
Because
lot
I don't even know about it. And this is what I do.
Yeah, a lot of times the schools have already worked with Elaine. So if there's any special needs or anything like that, then or there's a show that's accommodating, that will be able to do some sort of masterclass.
Wow.
A lot of the times, even if there is no masterclass involved, we're still being able to subsidize the tickets to give to the students. So we'll have plenty of like Girl Scout groups come along, or the Boys and Girls Club or YMCA groups or whatever the case may be. They're able to come to the shows and from our subsidized tickets, and it is coming from a portion of season members as
Oh,
well.
my
So
goodness. I love you guys. I love that you're doing that. So once again, we're talking about a community who is insane about theater, and you're maybe still possibly reaching other people who don't have the access to this stuff at all to make our area even crazier about theater. Again, I am a person who did not understand theater until my children got into it and I started watching it, and I did not get the idea of what theater was. And here I am, like, obsessed with it. So I think sometimes you just need to be exposed.
And I think one of the big things about theater is people think, I'm not a performer. I can't be around this. I don't like to be on stage. There's so many jobs. I mean, just look at Jessie and I. We are not on stage, people. At least not anymore. I know Jessie was.
Kyle and I, we're not on stage either.
Yeah. Just, but we are around it. We're talking about it every day. And there's people that we work. We have production managers who are there to welcome the shows as they come into the venues and work with the company managers. Obviously, there's marketing staff. There's, the stage managing staff. There's the lighting staff. There's personal trainers. Most of these shows travel with personal trainers, or not personal trainers, physical therapists. Physical therapists. Thank you. Probably everybody has a personal trainer too, because everyone's in such great shape.
Therapists are a big
but
deal.
at one point in my life, I wanted to be a physical therapist. I was like, I want to be a physical therapist.
They have
for
a lot.
show.
There's a lot of dancing that goes on.
Yeah,
in
a lot of
these
stretching.
stages.
Gotta
Do they have occupational therapists on this thing too? Like any kind of therapist type stuff? I'm pimping for my daughter just to see. That's what she's going
Maybe that's
into.
what they need. Maybe that's the next step.
Well,
to
that's
make
what
these,
she's going into, and she's a huge
Yeah.
theater fan too. So maybe this is a path that maybe of some kind that she could do. That's so cool. But it's stuff like that. Like you don't even think like I'm an electrical engineer.
Yeah.
Kind of need about 1 billion of those in the theater world. Sound people, engineering. There's a lot of people that maybe just don't know. Marketing, obviously, all the marketing places that do this stuff. We talked to somebody, Dina Zucker. She's from Maumee Valley Country Day. She is in New York working for an ad agency doing the marketing stuff for them as an accountant. But you know what? Yeah. She loves theater, and she wanted to work around theater. And she said, I could be an accountant for, Chase Manhattan, or I could be an accountant for a Broadway show company. Bam, she wins.
Yep.
And I see her all the time going to events in her fancy little dresses and the premieres. I'm like, I'm so jealous.
That's kind of like the full circle moment that I had. So my very first musical was at the Stranahan in the 6th grade, saw Wicked. And ironically enough, it was put on by, at the time, Theater League, which turned into the American Theater Guild. Yes. And like I said, that was the 6th grade for me. I whispered over to my mom and I was like, I'm going to sing that song. And it was Defying Gravity. And I was like, I'm going to sing that when graduation comes around. 6 years later, that's exactly what I'm doing. Went to college for vocal performance. COVID hit. The performing wasn't a thing. So then I had the opportunity to continue on with some school, and that's what I did. And I ended up finding my job here and amazing. Helping out the theater that I grew up with and what I absolutely love.
That's amazing. And my kids went to the same Wicked show that you went to.
That's awesome.
I bought them tickets for Christmas, and they went to the same freaking Wicked here in town.
That's awesome.
Because I was like, I can only afford 2. I'm sending my babies. And they got to go and see it, So, but it's like, well, of course, I love them more than I love myself. So it's like,
That's funny. I got 2 tickets for Wicked, and I sent my wife and daughter.
See?
Gosh, how old
you guys
were
are
they?
good
I was the 6th grade.
men in your families.
Yeah.
That's the last one they went
We're
to without
gentlemen.
me.
We're gentlemen. The
gentlemen of the families.
Exactly. Wow, this is very exciting, obviously. And then so after here, what other things you're going to be hitting up and promoting on all these shows?
Yeah, so I think we've got some interviews with some top stations in the Toledo area. Might be doing some influencer meetings.
Yes.
I think we're on a radio show on Wednesday.
Yep.
So
Nobody's more influential than us, though.
I know.
Who are
You guys
these
got
other
first
influencers? I have no
dibs.
idea who else is an influencer in the theater world than we are. So.
In Toledo.
In the theater world, maybe not so much, but in the
Exactly.
Toledo based.
Yeah. Those other people may know some other stuff. But we are the people who are connected
Yes.
right to the people who love theater the most. So that's the best thing.
Absolutely.
Oh, man. All right. We all done? Is that everything?
thank you for having us.
Oh,
This was
sure.
Blast.
a blast. Yes.
Yeah.
Did you drink all your wine? Drink your wine. That's
You
all
can
I
also
got.
buy
Time.
tickets at BroadwayandToledo.com.
Yes.
Okay, so to get the season tickets, let's talk about that. That's why you're here. Season tickets, you go to where?
You go to BroadwayandToledo.com.
Okay, BroadwayandToledo.com to get your season tickets.
Yes, you can
Okay.
literally pick your seat.
Yes, and as Heidi had said earlier, we sell these shows out. So if you're selling the shows out and you want to go see these things and you're not a season ticket holder, you're going to get nosebleed seats maybe.
Well, I will give you some insider information. Now that we have 8 performances, so we went from 6 performances to now 8 performances. So the Tuesday, Wednesday performances don't have season members in them yet. So if you're willing to go on Tuesday, Wednesday, I know that, sometimes you're getting home 10 or 10:30 because these shows are starting at 7:30, but
it's not that far of a drive to the Strand from anywhere in Toledo.
Yeah, it's
oh,
right smack in
well,
the middle.
and from that case, you're looking at the best seats that you can get Tuesday, Wednesday
from
performances.
here to there, we're talking like a 15-20 minute
You
drive.
also have
And we're far away.
You also have interest-free payment plan options as well. That's one of the things that I love.
Yeah.
So
Make it fit your budget.
And when you call, ask
Yeah.
for Jesse. Or anyone that'll help.
we do have a wonderful patron services team.
Yes.
Like
Okay.
absolutely top of the line, fantastic patron services
One more time.
team.
What's the website again?
BroadwayandToledo.com.
BroadwayandToledo.com.
Yes.
Follow you guys on Facebook.
Yes, you
Follow
can.
you guys got an Instagram account too. Okay, so make sure you follow them on both those social media accounts. So if you get confused as to where you're supposed to go, you've already been following them, and then you will share and post all the time. Because I've seen all the videos and the photos you've been posting.
It'll be all our posts will be up tomorrow
Right? Yeah.
about the performance.
about the new season. Mhm.
Oh, and then this will drop the day after that. So you guys get
Yeah.
to announce first because it is your thing. And then we will announce it. We'll follow up with a push.
And there's a couple yet you can catch for this season too.
Oh yes.
Oh,
We're
yeah.
not done with
There's
this
a
season.
ton of shows still left.
Yeah.
Les Miserables. If you haven't seen that,
Yeah,
Well,
we
the
haven't
Beetlejuice is still happening. When this
Yeah.
so this drops
Beetlejuice
this
is
drops
happening.
Friday, which when everybody wakes up and listens to this,
Yeah.
there's still a couple more shows.
Yeah.
Like 4 more shows still. Beetlejuice running through, isn't there? And then the next show's coming in.
Yes.
So even if guys, you have to see Beetlejuice for real. If you haven't seen Beetlejuice, there's like semi-truck loads of props and set that come to this thing. It's an insane visual experience. So
We
go
still have a Stomp in March, and we
Oh, Stomp.
still have Pretty Woman in April, and Respect, which is the story of Aretha Franklin. That'll be also in April, and then finishing up our Clue. We still have Clue as
Clue
well.
is so fun.
Heck
It's not a
yeah.
musical, but it's
a play.
so funny.
Right.
But Clue has a different ending all the time too. So if you've seen Clue somewhere, it may have a different ending that you've seen. than the
I
last
was
time.
really interested to see like how are they going to do this? And they do it well.
All right.
They do
And
it well.
then rounding up our season, we have Les Mis in June.
A couple people have heard of that show, I think.
Just a couple.
It's one of the
Just a
first ones
few.
I've seen in
That was the very first one I saw. So all right, whew, I think that's it then, right?
Yes.
All right,
yes.
I'm gonna tag this. I'm gonna tag Mrs. Adams in the podcast.
Oh
so she
my
can see it,
gosh.
so she'll know to listen to this exact episode. Shout out to Mrs. Adams. Shout out to the Lakota Raiders and shout out to the city of Kansas or something like
Oh
that.
my God.
The city
The
of
cornfield of Kansas.
You want to give a shout out to your town, Tom?
Go Anthony Wayne.
Oh, Anthony Wayne.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for coming on, ladies.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.